Hello, everybody. Hope you're having a good day today. We've got crazy weather out today, a lot of slick roads and kind of this mixture of weather going on. So a lot of people are staying indoors. The schools have all canceled. So it's been an adventure outdoors, but it's winter. So the good news is that we can stay inside and work on our Pinterest marketing and our businesses. Hey, Teresa, how's it going? Glad to see you here. Okay, so today we're talking about Pinterest analytics. And the analytics is a very important part that you need to take a look at and watch, because it's going to tell you what you're doing well. And then you need to make note of that and do more of what you're doing well. So to find your Pinterest analytics, here, this is what you need to do. You need to go to Pinterest analytics, go to your profile, and then go to clicks. Okay. Now the other areas inside of your analytics under profile is important as well, but really the clicks is the most important, because you are really focused on trying to get a click-through rate. You want people to click on the pin and go over to wherever it is you want them to go to, your website, to a marketplace, to Shopify, wherever that link is that you want them to go to. You need to try and encourage them to click through that pin whatever way you can to get them over to what you have to offer. And so when you are in your Pinterest analytics under your profile and then you click on clicks, you need to find your top 10 performing pins. So you got to scroll down on that page and you're going to see the top performing pins. Okay, and then also you need to look at your top performing boards as well when you're in that area to see what is getting you the most clicks in your boards. So your pins are very, very important to know what do they look like. What is being used there to give them the performance that they're doing. Why are they doing as well as they are? Why are they in the top 10? Okay, so find your top 10 performing pins underneath your profile and clicks and analytics. Also take a look at your boards. Those are the boards that have the highest amount of pins that are clicked on as well. And we're really focusing more on the clicks more than anything else. The other things, impressions, it's kind of important, but really the clicks is what your goal is ultimately. So what do we need to pay attention to then when you're inside of this area, when you're looking at your top performing pins? Okay. When you are reviewing your top performing pins, think about the keywords or keyword phrases that are used in the pin description. So this is where you need to kind of reverse engineer, see what you're doing. Why is it a top performing pin? It may be the keywords in your pin description are really excellent keywords. If so, then you need to copy that, write it down somewhere, and use more of those keywords when appropriate. It may be that in the past you were not using keywords on your pin descriptions, and now you started to do that, and it's made all the difference. And you'll see your pins where you don't have a very good pin description, there's no keywords in it, and you'll see the difference between that and your pins that have really excellent keywords in your pin description. So pay attention to that very, very closely and make note of it. What about the hashtags? You know, it's only been in this last year that hashtags are now being picked up in the smart feed inside of Pinterest. So think about, are you using hashtags in your pin description? It's wide open territory at this point. I would only do like 2 to 4 hashtags. You don't need to get crazy and do like 30 of them. I think we're only allowed 20 on Pinterest, but you don't need to get crazy and do a whole bunch of them, because it's not like Twitter or Instagram. People still are not really searching on Pinterest by hashtags. They really just search by a keyword that they put into the search box. So really your main focus needs to be keywords, but I would include a couple hashtags. And how you do that is you type in the # hashtag and then a word, at least one keyword, right after that, and see what pops up naturally. That's telling you how people are searching on Pinterest and what hashtags they're using. You take those hashtags and you put them at the very end of your pin description. That might help people find your pins and get them to rank up a little bit higher. The image, what was the image that was used on your pins? If it's a product image, is it one image? Is it multiple images? Which ones are performing well? So pins, making them in many different ways is great for doing some split testing to find out what gives you the highest click-through rate on Pinterest. It could be that one pin image is enough, or one image on a pin is enough. You might find that you have a higher click-through rate if you have an image where there's multiple products on that pin, or it's one product but different pictures of that one product. So anytime where you have multiple images, you might get a higher click-through rate rather than having a pin where it's just one image and that's it. Okay. So people do like to see multiple pictures of something, whether it's one product or more than one product, it does not matter. What I like to do is put together collections, and then I like to have different products that are in a picture to put on a pin. The reason is because if someone sees one of those out of maybe 6 products in a collection in your pin, they're going to click through. They may not care about the other 5, but they like that one. So it's easier for you to catch more people because you're providing them with a little bit more options on your pin to choose from. So they can pick from different things, and they're more likely to click through and go visit your site. So think about your images that you're using on top of your pins. The next area to think about is your text overlay. What is being used for your text overlay? Are you writing something that piques someone's interest? Does it say solve a problem? Does it tell about the benefit of what it is that you have to offer? What does the text say? Is it catchy? Does it make people curious to want to find out more so they feel compelled to click through? Sometimes just asking a question might be enough for people to want to click through a pin. So you're trying to get their curiosity piqued so that they have to click through in order to see what else that you have to offer. On some pins I've created in the past, and this is a hot tip for you, this was for a company that has videos. And what I did was I took a screenshot of what that video looked like, the video player, and I used that as the image on the pin, and down below I said to click to watch video. Okay, so I'm literally telling them you got to click through this pin in order to go watch the video, and the video went to YouTube. So that was one way of creating a pin that has a little bit higher click-through rate because they see that there's going to be a video that they can go and watch, and they're going to have to click through the pin in order to go and watch that video. So that's a tip for you that works very, very well, and you can do a lot of great video marketing. Put it on YouTube for your products that you're selling. So that's what I did for creating some pins. I was thinking creatively of how can I get a higher click-through rate on that pin if I have it leading to a video. So, think about creatively how you can do that to encourage people to click through your pins. So other things to think about on your pins is the font. What is the font that you're using? And what is the font size? What is the font color? Test different colors in your font. You could test different types of font and font sizes. You're going to find out which ones that people respond to the most according to the number of clicks that are on that pin. So you'll be able to tell, okay, this font is working really, really well, and maybe that color of the font is doing well, so I'm going to keep using that. So you can create multiple pins that all go to the same URL link, the same website link, and you change something different on every single pin. That's called split testing. And when you go back and look at your analytics, you're going to get an idea of what's giving you the clicks. What pin out of all of those that you did is giving you the higher click-through rate, and now you know what works. And you can start creating more of your pins that look like that. The last thing to ask yourself when you are looking at your top rated pins in your Pinterest analytics is what are the pins? Are they pins that are evergreen pins that are used throughout the year, or did I make them look seasonal? So one trick you could do for seasonal is you can take your same product on your pin, but then put some things on the pin that make it look like Valentine's Day. You could change the color to be red and pink. You could change the font color. You can add hearts. You can put hearts in the background of the pin. Just little tiny things like that make all the difference. And suddenly it looks like a brand new pin when you really haven't made that many changes. And now you can promote it for Valentine's Day. It could be that, that one has a higher click-through rate because it's Valentine's season. And you could remember that and say, okay, so I need to take my pins that I'm creating and I need to turn them into seasonal pins, because during that season, I get a really, really high click-through rate on that pin. And that's what your Pinterest analytics are going to tell you. So we really don't know how we're doing and what we're doing well and what we're not doing well until we start to see the numbers. We have to see the analytics to see what's going on there. Okay, so you need to review all of that information to see what is working for you. Then you take all of that information, and what you do is you apply it to your underperforming pins. These are the pins that are not doing so well. And you might go back and look at those pins and know right away what about it is not working. You might be able to make some changes. Maybe it's just the pin description. Well, that's easy. All you have to do then is just change your pin description. Just edit it right on Pinterest. Put some better keywords in there. That's probably going to help that pin perform a little bit better over time, and you don't have to delete it. Just change your pin description, and that might work out a little bit better. You might figure out that the pin itself just doesn't look real great, that you've discovered now a way to make better looking pins, and so you just want to focus on that in the future. Well, I still would not delete the pin, because you never know over time what might happen. I've seen pins that don't do well for a year, and then all of a sudden they take off. And it's just an unexplained reason. And you want to go back and look at it again to find out, why did that pin suddenly take off? But if I would have deleted it, that never would have happened. So you don't necessarily need to go crazy with deleting pins. See if there's changes that you can make with the pin. If not, leave it alone and just create some more pins that go to the same website link, but make some changes on your pin of what it looks like to see if it can perform better. And then you will be able to compare that with your other pins in your analytics to see if it worked. And you just keep going and you keep testing and you keep experimenting, and suddenly you figure out the perfect formula that works for you and your business. But you don't know until you keep trying and testing. So over time, you just need to keep making these changes to your pins, and you're going to find out the best solution according to what your analytics is telling you. Okay, some other things that I think we could talk about after the pin analytics here, because that is really the most of what that is to talk about, is I'm going to go over and take you over to Pinterest here. And what I want to do is talk about, and I think you should be able to see this okay. Yeah, I have to check just to make sure. What I want to do is talk about Valentine's Day, because it's coming up and things are going wild on Pinterest already with Valentine's Day. So I really hope that you have your Valentine's Day board created, that you've got it keyworded up really well in the title and the description, and you've started to make sections in it if you need to in order to organize your pins better, because your products will do really, really well for Valentine's Day. People are already starting to look for ideas, and they're collecting them to act on later. And that could be anything from crafts to recipes, to products they want to buy as gifts, to dinners that they want to make, or desserts, to maybe teaching supplies for teachers, to activities, games that they want to play. There's a lot of variety of different kinds of things that they're looking for. And what I like to do with a seasonal board like that is I like to organize it into sections and put in a lot of different types of things that people are interested in. And then you have your product pins in there too, as well, whatever it is that you have to offer. And you can make your pins look more Valentine's themed if you want, because it just keeps it all as a themed board, and your pins will look nice. If you don't have time to do that, then don't. Just put in your pins that you've already created in there in your Valentine's Day board and just include it with everything else. So what I mean by putting in these pins of things that people are interested in that tend to go viral are things that are not going to compete with your products. They're not going to compete with your pins or whatever it is that you have to offer. So if I was a blogger and I did a lot of recipes, and I was making a lot of dessert recipes to advertise for Valentine's Day, I probably would not want to pin in this Sweetheart Cinnamon Rolls pin because it would compete with mine. I want them to go check out my desserts. Instead, what I would do is I would find a craft like this pin over here, because this does not compete with the desserts that I am making and promoting for Valentine's Day. People would also be wanting to look for a craft. And if that pin leads them into my board, then they'll be able to see the desserts that I am making and offering on Pinterest. So that's how you do it. If I am selling t-shirts and I want them to buy t-shirts as a gift for Valentine's Day, the t-shirts don't have to say anything about love or Valentine's Day on the t-shirt. It could be one of your other t-shirts that you sell on a regular basis, and it might be a nice gift that someone would want, that they have an interest in. You can make your pin, change the color of your pin to make it look more Valentine's theme if you want to, or not, depends on how much time you have. And I would create the board into sections. T-shirts would be one section. You could have gifts in general if you'd rather do that, but I would be more specific and say Valentine gifts, t-shirts. I might want to do a section with these little do-it-yourself projects and crafts. I would want to have a section for things that you can cook, recipes, things to bake, or desserts, because that's not going to compete with your t-shirts. So somebody who is interested in baking these cinnamon rolls and they want the recipe is also probably going to be interested in your t-shirts. How do they find your t-shirts? Well, they discovered the pin that you repinned of someone else's that is about desserts. Some kind of a dessert pin or a food pin that is Valentine themed. They wanted to take a look at that pin closer, and they wanted to see the board that it was in. So they go into the board, and suddenly they see that your board is so well organized that, yes, I think I would like to buy some gifts for Valentine's Day too. I remembered that that's coming up and I need to get started on buying gifts. I'll take a look at the t-shirts and see if there's something that I can get from there. There would be some great ideas of gifts. So that's how you help people and lead them in, is you're offering lots of different things, some of what you have and some of other people's stuff, and it all needs to complement each other. And people are interested in more than one thing on Pinterest. So someone who likes to make these wreaths also might like to bake these cinnamon rolls, and then they realize I need to buy some gifts too. So they look in your board and they get ideas of different types of gifts that you offer. If you make your board a one-stop shop for everything, that's how you really leverage the power of Pinterest. And that's how you really leverage trends and seasons. You may not have received as much traffic in your foundational boards, but once you hit that hot season and you displayed your pins in a different way that is using other people's complementary pins, they are going to pay attention to it. They look at it, they see it, and they will take action. So it's kind of like a board is almost like a store. We can now organize it into sections with the new feature that they have with the sections feature in Pinterest. So I take advantage of that as much as possible. So I would want to create a Valentine's Day board, and I'd love to put this pin in. It's a nice long pin. It's telling me what it's about with a text overlay. It's a do-it-yourself Valentine's Day bark. and it shows the easy steps in the pictures. There's 4 pictures here. So I'm looking at 4 easy steps, 1, 2, 3. And then here is a picture of the final product once it's packaged up and it looks really nice. And I could say, wow, that would be great treats to send with kids to school, or maybe to the office at work, or give it out as gifts. And it would be simple to do. I think this is a great idea too, the bag of chips Valentines. If they're looking for a creative little Valentine to give, but there's no time to cook or bake, that would be a great one. And you could make that a section of, Valentine's gift ideas or something inside of your board. And you can include your t-shirts as well, or whatever it is that you're selling. Maybe it's jewelry. And you could have a section in your Valentine's board that is jewelry, or it could be makeup. It could be just about anything really that you're selling. Could be a gift item for anyone that they might want for Valentine's Day. So it doesn't have to be something that says love on it. Okay, like this shirt, it's really cute. It's a onesie and it says love bug. Really great for Valentine's Day, but I would see that people would buy that all year long. I mean, that's cute enough to where that outfit would be something that can be worn all year. It doesn't have to be for Valentine's Day. It might get a nice little spike at Valentine's Day. So I would still consider that to be an evergreen product, and you could just creatively use it in different ways. So Valentine's Day is huge. You can see the number of pins that are going on here and the different ideas. Lots of recipes, do-it-yourself craft ideas are very popular. Products to buy. You can see these tops right here that people are making pins for. Shirts, gifts. Here's a gift pin where you have a gift guide on it. Valentine's Day gifts for your BFF. If you have the time, these do really, really well. This company is called Uncommon Goods. They do a really great job of making these pins, and you might want to study these. All they do is they put multiple products on one pin, multiple pictures. Here's their text overlay. They made it a bright pink for Valentine's Day. They do have kind of a watercolor, light, very light pastel background for their pin. And then they have that same dark pink down here as well, with their website link right here. Multiple products. So if I were to look at this pin, I may say, you know what, I don't like this, or this, but I see one of them that catches my eye. And I say, oh, I'm interested in this. What is this? It's got the state of Texas on it. Is it a candle? And I want to click through to look at it closer to find out more about it. And I might want to even buy it. So all it takes is one item on this pin to get my interest for me to click through. So let's go take a look at Uncommon Goods. Of course, they do e-commerce. Looks like they have a 404, so they have a broken link there, which is not good. Let's try this one instead. Okay, so this is their profile, and they have 43,000 followers so far. So we would say that this is a pin influencer. They have a very good following. And let's take a look at their boards. They could definitely do a little bit better with their descriptions, board descriptions with keywords. And their pins are what they do really well with in creating pins. Down here you can see that their pins are a little bit different, but I think they've gotten better over time. They've really evolved a lot more. Now, unfortunately, their Valentine's Day board is way down here at the bottom. Now is the season, so they need to take that board and move it up to the top of their boards list. We were talking about that in the last video, is they need to organize, like reorganize their boards. This board, they need to rotate back up to the top so people can look at it closer. So let's look at their Valentine's Day board. They have no description in here. It would help them if they put in a keyworded description. And I would probably want one more keyword beyond Valentine's Day to be more competitive. And you would rank higher on your board. So I would want this to be at least 3 keywords in the board title. It's a lot easier to beat out everybody else that's trying to rank for the same keywords Valentine's Day with their boards. And look at all of these long pins. They look really great. Nice colors, a different color on each one. A different theme, a different background. These are just, the only way that they grouped them together is they just said they're funny and cute. And just put some random products together, and that was enough. Okay, so jewelry, I'm not even sure what some of this is. I think it might be some toy items. You know, what they are known for is unusual products that they sell. That's why they call it uncommon goods. And they know that the unusual is what does very, very well. Hard to find products. That's the stuff that we're always looking for. So this one is a very unique text overlay, 10 best long distance relationship gifts. That is really unique and different because there's a lot of people who are looking for that. And you would be the only person that has a pin with that description on it, and it would really catch someone's eye because they can relate to it. It's very relatable. So it's important. That text overlay is important, thinking about what you want to say and how you want to use it. How can you grab a certain segment of an audience? So this audience is targeting people who are in a long distance relationship and they're looking for a gift to buy. Clever. This is phenomenal. This one is okay, but it's very general. Valentine's Day gifts. Okay, it's great, but there's probably 50,000 other pins out there that say the same thing. So it doesn't really target or niche down that audience enough. What I would want to do is say Valentine's Day gifts for him, like what they did over here. And when you put a number next to it, that's even better. 25 plus best Valentine's Day gifts for him. So this one is probably going to get a higher click-through rate because it's more specific. It's a highly targeted audience. Same way with this one. This one is more of a feminine look to it. So I would want it to say Valentine's Day gifts for her, or Valentine's Day gifts for mom, Valentine's Day gifts for daughters, for your best female friend, whatever it is. And down here, they say for your BFF is a good one with a text overlay. So that's just giving you some ideas of what to do in creating your pins. You can follow the example here of Uncommon Goods. They are all e-commerce. And most of what they have to offer here is they pin mostly their stuff and then they share some of other people's stuff. Now this board is not a good title on it at all. I mean, not too many people are going to search for yum in Pinterest. So their board is kind of lost at this point unless they actually use a keyword that people are searching for in Pinterest. And it needs to be at least two words in the keyword phrase. 3 is even better. 4 is the maximum. So we have really neat looking pins. Really neat. I love the different colors. So even if you are doing branding for your business or your company, it's okay if you do different colors on each pin. It's just a pin. Don't worry about it. You don't have to have the color of your brand on every single pin and make it that way. You don't have to do that all the time. It would be smarter for you to test different colors. So that's what they're doing here. They have a green, they have like an orange, they've got a gray color. Now that would be interesting to see the results. They have a mixture of red with a little bit of this dark grayish blue color. And then here is more of the green, like a lighter green. Those are probably going to perform pretty well. The bright colors seem to do a little bit better and pastels seem to do better. The pinks like this really pop out at your eye and people will pay attention to it a little bit more. The purples can do okay, but pinks, reds, oranges, yellows even, anything that's bright pops out. Now you can see down here, that these are not pins that they created. This is just a photo or an image off their website that they pinned, and it's just the square box image. It doesn't stand out as much. I don't feel compelled to click on it because I'm not sure what it is even. I need a text overlay at least to tell me what it is. Is this a drink? Is it a recipe to make this drink? Is it the glass itself that they're selling? What kind of glass is it? I'm not sure. Is it so they need a text overlay to tell us what we are looking at because it's unclear by just the picture itself. A long pin, you can see the difference here, takes up a lot of real estate property space inside of Pinterest. You pay attention to it. You get a higher click-through rate. And Pinterest has told us that their recommended size is 735 by 1102 pixels. That's their recommended minimum. Most of these square images that you pin off of marketplace websites, Shopify, eBay, Amazon, Etsy, you come up with these square images. If you're just pinning and you're not taking the time to create your own pins, you're going to notice that if you check your Pinterest analytics, that they're probably not performing very well. And you'll notice that the long pins that you create are the ones that give you a higher click-through rate. So when we're talking about those analytics and we're talking about what your pins look like and you want to study your pins that are performing well, do an experiment. Click from your website or marketplace, wherever you're at, whatever you're selling, do some of these square images where you're just basically pinning right off of the website. Okay, you're not doing anything extra. Then what I want you to do is create your own long pin. Take the time to do it. It looks like this. It really doesn't take as long as you think. And pin that. Change, make sure that you have the URL link so that it's linking to your website, to your page. And then give it about 30 days. Go back into your Pinterest analytics. Remember to go to profile and then clicks to see what your top performing pins are. Within 30 days, your long pins might be the ones that begin to float to the top. They're the ones that are giving you a higher click-through rate. But the only way for you to know for sure is to actually do the split testing to see and find out. Okay? So here, this one is a square image, but this one is a little bit longer, and I like the colors in it. It catches the eye. I pay more attention to this. I still would rather see a pin like this because it has text overlay and it tells me what it's about. So I'm not sure what this is about. And Pinterest for a while was saying that they were going to get rid of the pin description down below that tells us what the pin is about, that they were going to start hiding that. If that was true, then we really would have no idea what this is. I wouldn't know that it's a rainbow macaron or macaroon perfection. I wouldn't know that it's a dessert to make. And is it something that I buy already made, or is it a recipe, or is it a how-to craft item? I don't know. I would want to know more by putting that text overlay. And if I was interested, I'd click on it. But right now it's kind of boring, so I'm just going to skip it. And I'm going to go to this one because this one catches my eye. It's 33 super cool popsicles to make this summer. So I think, wow, I hit the jackpot. I found 33 popsicles, different flavors that I could make. This one is what I want to spend my time with. I want to save this pin for later, and I want to click through to get those recipes. So I hope that helps a little bit with understanding of Pinterest analytics, understanding the difference that your pins can make, and knowing, is that pin going to perform well for me or not? Because you don't want to be doing all this work for nothing. And you really can control how well you do overall on Pinterest. So the only way for you to find out is to check your Pinterest analytics every single month, see how your pins are performing, see how your boards are performing, and make note of what's working for you, and then try to make some changes where possible, so that you can start getting better and better results. And it's slow progress. It's going to get better and better over time. So I wanted you to see the difference of the pins and how you might see the results of those in your analytics. Valentine's Day is really, really important. So make sure that you are getting your stuff in your boards. If you have a Valentine's Day board, you just need one, and you can add different sections into your board so that you are pinning a lot of other people's things that are very, very complementary. And that's going to help rank your board up higher overall. A lot less work. Then you don't have to do you don't have to make those separate boards. Like, here's my Valentine's Day recipe board, and then here's my Valentine's Day t-shirt board. Put it all into one board and use the sections. Make things easy for yourself. It's also going to give more weight to that one board because it's going to be filled with more pins, which helps it rank higher in the search on Pinterest. And the keywords, you get extra keywords in there because of titling the sections of those boards. So that's going to help it rank higher too. What I'm interested in paying attention to over time is with our boards, and we're organizing things into sections, and you keyword those sections. What I'm wondering is, do those full boards start to get better in the Pinterest analytics as well? And find out which of your boards then start to change as your top performing boards, as well as your top performing pins. So far, a lot of the top performing boards are based on keywords and the type of pins that you're putting in and how many pins. I think now we have one extra thing to look at, and that's the sections that gives us a little bit more keywords. So that might make all the difference in the world as far as being able to get your boards to perform even better for you and your pins overall. So, okay. Here's a comment here. Thank you for all the great info, especially on the Valentine board and sections. I'm new to making my own pins, but not new to myself being a Pinterest user. Yeah. Can you show an example of what a good Valentine's t-shirt pin looks like in your opinion? Yes. And it's kind of tough because there's not many people, to be honest with you, on Pinterest who are doing very good pins with t-shirts. I think it's because they don't know how. I mean, it's more of the e-commerce aspect of it. The people in the blogging world they do a great job of making pins, and they're mostly bloggers that have like a craft that they're doing, or recipes, or some kind of topic like that, but they're not really into e-commerce stuff. They make their money through affiliate marketing, and in ads that they run on their blog, on their website. That's how they're making the majority of their money. They don't have physical products that they sell. Some of them might have digital products. They're the ones that do really well at creating pins. The people in the e-commerce world, the people that are selling t-shirts and physical products, they don't even know what Pinterest is. That's been the challenge that I have realized and have been facing. But at the same time, I see it being so important that it needs to be out there. The e-commerce world needs to know about it. So we can take a look and see if we can't find a Valentine's t-shirt board or a pin to give you an idea of what that might look like. I'll just do Valentine's t-shirt for now, just 2 keywords. And you can see that people are pinning their t-shirts, but it's just right off of Teespring. They're not making their own pin. Most people do that. They don't realize that making their own pin could help it perform better. So here's one that is more along the craft, how to make your own boys' Valentine's tees. This pin looks better because there's multiple pictures in it. It shows the steps. It has a text overlay. They're using a red color, something bright that pops out. But as you can see, most of these are not real great pins. the best pin is like this one. It's a long pin and you can see multiple shirts. Now these shirts don't have anything to do with Valentine's Day itself, but they would make a great gift idea for anyone who is looking to buy a gift for someone for Valentine's Day. Their text overlay is okay, but I don't like to use the word cheap. It has a negative connotation to it, which might mean to some people poor quality, to other people that it's affordable. So it means different things to different people. So I wish that they wouldn't use that word cheap, because they may say, yeah, it's only $4, but it might be like I wash it twice and it wears out, and maybe bad quality. You can see here that there's just not that many great looking pins. It's just real basic stuff. And it's because they don't understand what to do. So it's really hard for me to show you a great example. Now here's a better one. 15 boy approved Valentine shirts. That's a better looking pin right here. And let's see where it's going to. Again, this is probably not someone in e-commerce. It might be a blogger who is getting affiliate sales. So let's go and take a look at their website and read the article. It's this is a rich pin called an article rich pin. That's why it has this little piece right here that says read it. And then over at the top, it's got this that's populated in automatically through Pinterest. So they named the title of their blog post Boys Valentine Shirts. And they did this a year ago, 2016. Here is our Pinterest pin right on top of their website. They put that right on top. They actually use their Pinterest pin that they created as the main picture in their blog post. They talk a little bit about it, and then they show the individual shirts. So this one is another one they probably can use as a Pinterest pin, but it only shows one shirt in it. And they put a text overlay, DIY Valentine shirt, and then they put the name of their website link right there. You could also do your logo instead if you would rather do that. Now, none of these shirts are theirs. They're basically taking them from other blogs, and you can see on the pin that the logo is there. And they place that on their blog post, and they give credit to it by linking to that blog. People can come here and pin all of these out, and it is a way to draw people into your blog by using this kind of technique. And you're using other people's pins from what they're creating, and they're putting a collection together is what they're doing. So they don't sell any of these products, but they're sharing it. And it's going to drive a lot of traffic to their blog. That's how they're doing it. Once they get here, they'll poke around and see other stuff that they have to offer. So they might sell some sewing stuff, and then they would buy that instead. So that's their little technique that they're using, is they're leveraging pins that other people have created, giving them attribution by linking over to their website on their blog post. Yeah, they're not real great. Not real great. What if I do Valentine's Day? Okay, so here's multiple pictures. On this one, no text overlay. It's okay, but not great. Yeah, most of these are not good. So if you've been searching for great examples and you're having a hard time seeing it, that's what I see too. I see the same as what you do. It's not great. So you have to look at pin examples of other products like this from Uncommon Goods. And you do the same thing. It's just with t-shirts instead of socks. You know, it's a different product. You just swap out the images is all you're doing. But you can make your pin look similar. Now this one's a little bit better. We have a picture of the same shirt, and it's in two different colors. So that tells the person that you can get it in blue and you can get it in white. It's the picture, the image is blown up enough to where you can see the graphic on the shirt and read what it says, which is really important. The text overlay, I love, hilarious t-shirt for Valentine's Day. And it's bright pink, so it catches your eye. That pink also kind of matches what's in the design of the shirt as well. So it all flows together. So this is a better looking pin for someone who is trying to sell shirts and they're trying to target the Valentine's Day market. Now that t-shirt design could be sold all year. It really doesn't say anything about just Valentine's Day on that t-shirt. It could be sold all year, but it's one of them that might spike during Valentine's Day just because of the humor in it saying still waiting for that prince. So they did a good job of picking a great graphic design that would spike a little bit more for Valentine's Day, but yet they could still create pins for all year and probably other seasons too, and it would be fine. But as you can see here, a lot of these pins are not great. So here's the good news. The good news is this. You know how to create really awesome looking Pinterest pins. And if you're selling t-shirts along with all the other people selling t-shirts on Pinterest, guess which ones are going to get noticed? Yours. Your pins are going to really stand out amongst the sea of all of those little small square images of t-shirts that no one can hardly see. They're so small. It's hard to see, and they don't know what it's about. They're not sure if it's a t-shirt for sale or is it just talking about something else. They don't know on that pin. And if you create your pins to make them the long pins that really stand out in the smart feed, guess which ones people are going to save? They're going to go after your pin every time. So that's what I mean by saying that people in the e-commerce world, they don't have a clue about how to really use Pinterest in the best way possible, how to really optimize it. They're just taking shortcuts. If you know how to create pins, you know the SEO, you know the keywording, you have an edge over your competition, and you will gain a lot of traction and be able to beat out your competition in a very, very easy way because you understand how to use Pinterest and more ways of doing that. So if you're worried about competing against all these other people with t-shirts on Pinterest, because there is a lot of t-shirts on Pinterest, do not worry about it. You got to set yourself apart. How do you do that? You create engaging pins that take up a lot of space. People notice it. They're going to repin it. They're more likely to click through. You could really dominate that space with your t-shirts because nobody else, hardly anyone is doing it, and they're not doing it very well. So you have the advantage. You have the advantage. So the fact that it's really hard for us to find some really good Pinterest pin examples of t-shirts, and specifically t-shirts for Valentine's Day, and we can't hardly find any, that's good news. That's good news. That means that no one else is doing it, so you need to be that person doing it. So yes, this is a good one from Michelle here. It says Pinterest was a search engine. Didn't know that Pinterest was a search engine until, started taking Fernando's print on demand course a few months ago and saw the video that I did there in his course and the live video with him. Always thought of it as social media. That's true. Pinterest is a social media site, but it's really more of a search engine. It's a very, very high functioning search engine, much better than any other social media site. It's very, very easy to master that search engine. And how do you get your pins shown in the newsfeed is according to your keywords. That's how you get them shown to more people. Now, with that being said, the pin also needs to look nice so that people, when they do see it, they'll take action on it. So the purpose of a keyword is to get more people to see your pin. Okay, now your next step number 2 is make sure that you're using a long pin, something that's really going to stand out in the news feed so that they are more likely to take action on it once they do see your pin. That might be a save. That might be a click through, whatever that is. That's your goal. So yes, search engine, and then make your pins stand out amongst all the other pins, so that people are going to click on your pin. Okay. I don't see any other questions in here, but it all kind of flows together. So definitely check out your Pinterest analytics right now if you can, and see what you're doing well and areas that maybe you can improve on. It's such a great resource. That's why I encourage everyone to do a business Pinterest account, because that's the only way that you can get those analytics to see what kind of results that you're having right now. If you are using just a basic Pinterest account as a average user, that's not going to give you your analytics. So it's really hard to tell what's working well for you and what's not working well for you. You can, let's say that you've created a lot of boards already and you've done a lot of work in your own personal Pinterest account. You don't want to have to redo all of that. So just convert it over to business. It doesn't take very long. You can do it in a couple minutes. Allow 24 hours for that to fully populate. Your analytics are not going to populate correctly right away. So you need to give that some time before you actually see real results in your analytics. In fact, your analytics might show up as blank for about a week. So if you are converting from a personal account to a business account, you got to give it lots of time for the analytics to start populating, because it's never populated analytics before. So if you don't have a business Pinterest account, now's the time, get it opened. If you need help with any of this stuff, of going into more details about how to find keywords, how to rank high in the search engine, how to create engaging pins, the how-to of all of this, definitely join us in the Pinterest for e-commerce course. You can find that on the Pin Traffic Power Facebook fan page down on the left-hand side. It's in the menu. Join us there. We do a lot of our own personal live training where there's new things all the time and updates and a lot of specific things that we're working on. So definitely join us there. And there is a new guide that is specifically for people who are doing Merch by Amazon and they just want to focus on that strategy of their Pinterest marketing just for Merch by Amazon. There's a guide in there that we have now to help you block out all the rest of the videos and just focus on that. So you could definitely take advantage of that inside of the course as well. Okay, so you're stumped on Teresa says you're stumped on a business name to switch it over from personal. Just use whatever business name you're currently using, but definitely use keywords that talks about what you are about, what your business is about, for sure. So if you're not sure, at least put in some keywords of what you're about, what you have to offer, and that's going to help people find your profile when they do a search for those keywords. Okay, let's wrap it up for now. Check out your analytics, see what your top performing pins are, find out what your top performing boards are, see where you can improve. If you don't already have a Valentine's Day board, get on it immediately and start pinning to it like crazy. Create some Valentine's Day looking pins. You don't have to do much to do that. Just get real creative, and you're going to get a lot of traction from that with your seasonal boards and your trend boards. Okay, have a great rest of your day. We'll talk later.